Quite some time ago, we got word that Netflix is making a new film with the Russo brothers, who came to fame from Marvel doing the Infinity Saga and Captain America films. But we got news that they were making a new film that's a mega budget film for Netflix. And when I say mega budget, I really mean it. We're talking like $320 million to make a movie for Netflix. And right now, I'm not even sure if this is going to hit theaters. But obviously, when they announced this, I was extremely intrigued. Everything surrounding it was interesting, including the fact that it's going to be based off of the art of Simon Stålenhag, who does very interesting and odd surrealist art that's based in this kind of semi-reality. Everything about it is just wild, but between the budget, the casting, and just this being a Netflix film in general, I was really intrigued. And now we finally have information on it, but not only information, photographs, and a lot more of a look into what this movie's going to be. And I'm just really kind of excited to talk about it and dig into it a little bit more. As always, make sure to subscribe, comment, like, and more than anything, visit criticalist.com. We are an entertainment reviewing platform. Not only are we a website, but we are an app as well. You can find us in the Android and Apple stores. We're for reviewing movies and television shows. So if you've been watching anything lately, make sure to hop on the platform and drop a review. But let's go ahead and get to business by talking about this movie, The Electric State. This thing just really looks super crazy. Now, I'm going to go ahead and kind of touch on the Vanity Fair article, and then we'll pivot over to comingsoon.net because they've broken down what's actually in it, because Vanity Fair put this entire thing behind a paywall. Now, what it says here is it says Millie Bobby Brown and Chris Pratt face a robot uprising in Electric State. Now, we've got one photo here where we see a really blonde Millie Bobby Brown and a super blonde Pratt that's relatively unrecognizable, honestly, and then some interesting little robots and an old Volkswagen Beetle. Now, what it says here is, imagine a future in ruins, but it's actually not the future. The story takes place in 1994 in the aftermath of a battle between humanity and artificial intelligence that ended in a devastating stalemate. The people who died were buried. The automatons who were destroyed rust away where they fell. The defeated robots have been banished to an exclusion zone in the Southwest desert, while human society attempts to rebuild without the help of the mechanical beings it created. So this is clearly kind of hitting at the right time with the rise of AI and the constant discussions around it. So they're really striking while the iron is hot with this movie. And it is based off of a graphic novel written by Simon Stålenhag. And if you have not checked out his art, I would definitely recommend it. He's done some really cool stuff over the years, and all of it's just really wild, but it's kind of based in, a lot of it at least is based in around the 90s and other times. Now, this is his Instagram account, so it's got plenty of other things, but this is kind of one of the more iconic photos from his art, and a lot of it is based a little bit in reality, and then it's putting something wild and kind of ridiculous and over the top in there. And it seems like at least this movie and the graphic novel are based off of a bit more lighthearted components of his art. Now, this is where we really get into the nitty gritty of what is going on in this movie. If you will catch it right here, we have an automaton that is, I guess, Mr. Peanut, I think is his name, from the Planters Peanuts, and he looks really crazy. This is pretty cool looking, and I'm curious how much we're going to get CGI versus practical effects, but this honestly does look really cool, and I think Millie Bobby Brown might have a paintball gun. So now it breaks down here in the comingsoon.net article what the whole deal is with this, and as they're pointing out, it's showing a lot of the images primarily around Chris Pratt and Millie Bobby Brown and these robots. Now, there were two separate sets of photos as well from two different websites, which we'll take a look at. But there's a quote here, and it says, these robots had the most benign appearance possible, and they end up feeling that they're being mistreated and have a desire to be treated as equals with humans, which leads to a war, Russo said about the film's plot. And now you have this strange dichotomy playing out where these very pleasing and palpable service bots are now trying to kill you. And honestly, that sounds really cool that, you know, you have these almost borderline like branded robots that just want people to respect them because they've been given a brain. So check out this photo here of Chris Pratt. I didn't even recognize him when I first saw it, and it's pretty wild looking. I think he actually looks pretty cool like this, and I'm totally on board for it. Now, I'm not one of the big Chris Pratt haters. I actually like him quite a bit. And this is kind of the primary companion for Millie Bobby Brown's character. And I've seen the art of this character in his books as well. And then we scroll through. There's a bigger piece here. You see Chris Pratt kind of taking the second stage here, which is interesting. That it seems like Millie is going to really be the lead, and that would be lining up with what's in the book as well. But these characters look super cool. We've got some kind of baseball headed man, Mr. Peanut. This lady over here with like I don't even know. It looks like she's almost holding like a pool stick or something. Same for Mr. Peanut. And then we've got a third photo here with another actor as well. So that is what I was going to get at. I guess if there are potentially some spoilers, because that's Ki Hugh Kwan, and he's going to be in this along with a ton of other people. So we've got Stanley Tucci, Giancarlo Esposito, Jenny Slate, Brian Cox, Alan Tudyk. I think a lot of these people are probably going to be playing robots. Now, here is the second cluster of photos, actually 3 of which are repeats, but there is one new one that's in here that I think is really cool looking. And it's kind of showing a lot of the scale of this movie and what they're going to be doing. And it does really have this kind of whimsical feel to it, and it looks really neat. And I'm honestly, after seeing these photos, I'm even a lot more excited about this movie than I was when I first started hearing about it. And so it breaks down here. It says, well, what else do we know about the Electric State? And so what it says is Stranger Things Brown is playing Michelle, a woman who is searching for her brother who was previously assumed to be dead. The Electric State, while Pratt portrays a veteran turned trucker named Keats. Anthony Mackie is voicing a construction robot named Herman, while the voice of Mr. Peanut comes from Woody Harrelson. And later on in the article, they actually break down that apparently it was very difficult for them to get Mr. Peanut, and they were getting some pushback from the company that owned the rights, which is Hormel Foods or Planters Peanuts. But basically they finally gave in and let them do it, but they were a little worried about how their classic character was going to be portrayed in the movie. And a lot of this just is kind of breaking down the Russo brothers, Simon Stålenhag and his art. But I mean, we know that these guys are tried and true as far as directors. They do excellent work and just really cool films in general, which does have me excited. And then with it just being the subject matter and in this world that Simon Stålenhag has created, everything about this seems really cool. And I mean, look, we have seen so many other creators, especially on the Disney, Star Wars, Marvel front, really waste mega budgets of late. We know that the Russo brothers know how to work within the bounds that they are given, and they should be able to work with this $320 million budget, which means that this movie is going to be pretty wild. And I'm really, really excited to see what they do with this. And I hope it's great. And more than anything, I hope that this movie is in theaters, because it's going to be a real shame if it is relegated just to homes, being able to watch it only via Netflix. I hope that this comes out in theaters first. And even if they turn around and release it at home release right after it leaves theaters or whatever, that's totally fine. But I think a movie where you were spending that much money needs to be in theaters. And this is going to be a big gamble for them if they don't do that, because obviously, I mean, when you're spending that much money, you're going to want to try and make some of it back. And if you're sticking it just to streaming, I can't imagine you're going to get enough new subscribers on Netflix to justify that kind of a price tag. But hey, who knows? I mean, Netflix clearly has more money than God. So I don't know. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below, what you think about this, what you think about the release schedule, and if this is going to be in theaters or where it's going to end up. And just if you're excited and think this looks cool, because I honestly do think it looks really rad. And I am super pumped to see a trailer, which I think we will probably get fairly soon if all of this is coming out. I would not even be surprised if it's in the next week or two that we get a trailer, but I haven't seen anybody talking about this yet. So I'm hopefully on the early forefront of discussions of this movie. And I think it will probably be a fairly big deal when it does release, between the star power behind it and just the fact that the Russos are directing it. It will probably be quite good. So fingers crossed here, and we'll keep an eye out for this movie as things chug along. And like I said earlier, make sure to visit criticalist.com, hop in, drop us some reviews, maybe go and review all the Chris Pratt films, because that will be plenty of work for you, or maybe just some Millie Bobby Brown stuff. So even just saying all of that Millie Bobby Brown, that is a lot just to say in a row. I think she needs to go by like MBB or something. We need to shorten the name, especially if she's going to be around this much for this long. It's just too hard to say all that. But anyways, I'll be back soon. I'm not sure I'm going to be here tomorrow, so I will probably not be dropping a news video then, but I will be dropping a video on Thursday. I think it is actually probably going to be my review for the new Joker film, which I am not going to lie, not exactly super excited about, but fingers crossed, maybe I'll be pleasantly surprised, but them turning it into a musical has me suspicious. And if anybody knows me, they know I do not like musicals, so I'm not too excited about that. So the less musicals, the better for me. But anyways, visit Criticalist, drop us a sub, give us some comments, some likes. That all helps us a ton. And we will be back here soon. Everybody take it easy, and I hope you have a great day. Later.